Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most scandalous and talked about celebrity crimes that rocked the 1990s.
It was the high society murder that stunned the world.
Giani Versace was murdered in broad daylight this morning.
Number 10, Hugh Grant arrested with a sex worker.
To this day, people talk about the way you handled that situation, which was apologizing and not making excuses, which has become strangely admirable in retrospect.
I don't really remember apologizing. I'm not sure who I was supposed to apologize to. I mean, I was just an idiot.
In the mid-90s, Hugh Grant was on top of the world. This thanks to romantic comedy hits like Four Weddings and a Funeral. But in June 1995, his image took a massive hit. The actor was arrested near Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles after police found him engaging in a lewd act with a sex worker named Divine Brown in his car. The timing could not have been worse, as Grant was promoting his upcoming film 9 Months and had to do damage control on a pre-booked appearance on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno just several days later.
I think you know in life pretty much what's a good thing to do and what's a bad thing, and I did a bad thing, and there you have it.
While his career eventually rebounded, the scandal became a pop culture punchline for years. Number 9, Tommy Lee booked for domestic assault. In the late 1990s, Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee was arrested and ultimately sentenced to 6 months in jail for domestic assault against his then-wife Pamela Anderson. According to court documents and Pamela's own statements, Tommy physically attacked her while she was holding their infant child, prompting her to call 911.
People are saying, that I had beaten Pamela. That is not true. That's just not true. Grabbing a woman and shaking a woman is not cool either.
The violent outburst was the culmination of a tumultuous relationship that had captivated tabloids for years. Their relationship had already been thrust into the public eye thanks to a private tape that was stolen and leaked online.
The tape?
What tape?
The tape.
Lee has since expressed extreme regret over the abusive incident. Number 8, Robert Downey Jr.'s multiple arrests. Before he kickstarted the MCU as Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. had frequent run-ins with the law.
Robert Downey Jr. is opening up about his time in prison in the late 90s, saying it was the worst thing that happened to him.
In 1996, Downey was arrested for speeding down Sunset Boulevard with illegal substances and an unloaded gun in his car. A short time later, while on probation, he broke into a neighbor's home and passed out in their child's bed. The next several years saw multiple probation violations, missed narcotics tests, and rehab stints. By the end of the decade, RDJ was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Robert Downey Jr. has since turned his life around, achieving one of the most remarkable and inspiring comebacks in Hollywood history.
Take that off. What are you?
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
Number 7, Mike Tyson convicted of indecent assault.
Anything to say at all, Mike?
I'm innocent.
In one of the most high-profile celebrity criminal cases of the decade, heavyweight boxing champion Mike Tyson was convicted of indecently assaulting Desiree Washington, a Miss Black America contestant in a hotel room.
But his victim has said she would have dropped the charges if he'd apologized and promised to undergo medical treatment.
Tyson claimed the encounter with the then 18-year-old beauty pageant competitor was consensual, but the jury did not agree. After a widely publicized trial, Tyson was sentenced to 6 years in prison in 1992, though he served just under 3.
Seldom can a prisoner have emerged from here into a stretch limousine. Tyson's newfound humility, it seems, has its limits.
The case was a major fall from grace for the boxing legend and sparked heated debates at the time about celebrity privilege and justice. Though he would return to the ring, the conviction cast a long shadow over his career. Number 6, Snoop Dogg's murder trial. At the height of the 90s West Coast rap explosion, rapper Snoop Dogg found himself facing some very serious charges. In August 1993, Snoop and his bodyguard were involved in the fatal shooting of Philip Waldemariam, a member of a rival gang.
I was traumatic and didn't know what to do and, who to turn to.
Snoop was charged with first-degree murder for the altercation, with the trial beginning in 1995. The case attracted massive media attention, partly due to Snoop's rising fame, with much attention paid to the, quote, violent lyrics in the rapper's debut album Doggy Style, which was released shortly after the incident. Snoop maintained his innocence, claiming self-defense. In 1996, both he and his bodyguard were acquitted.
I'm curious, what was going through your mind at the time that the jury was reading the verdict?
I left it in God's hand, Abby. That's why I looked so stone-faced. I didn't have no expressions, you know what I'm saying? It was all in her.
Number 5. The murder of Phil Hartman. Actor-comedian Phil Hartman was a cast member of Saturday Night Live from 1986 to 1994, earning an Emmy in 1989 for writing.
Fine, but please, don't tell Mrs. Clinton. Jim, let me tell you something. There's going to be a whole bunch of things we don't tell Mrs. Clinton. Fast food is the least of our worries, okay, buddy?
Hartman married his third wife, Bryn Omdahl, in 1987, and the couple had 2 children together. Omdahl struggled with multiple substance use disorders for years, which put a strain on their marriage. She also reportedly had anger issues, leading to many fights between the couple, including one on the night of May 27, 1998. In the early hours of May 28th, she shot Hartman multiple times in his sleep, then confessed to 2 friends before taking her own life.
Distraught neighbors and friends of the couple say they had marital problems. One woman said she had feared that this would happen.
Hartman's murder shocked the entertainment industry at large. Family, friends, and fans continue paying tribute to the comedian. Number 4. The assassination of Giani Versace. After Gianni Versace opened his first boutique in 1978, the Italian fashion designer quickly made a name for himself in the industry.
I have a beautiful house, I have a beautiful life, but that is the media. What I desire is more.
His life was cut short at 50 years old when Andrew Cunanan shot him in front of his Miami Beach home on July 15, 1997. 8 days later, Cunanan took his own life. The cross-country spree killer had previously killed 4 other men before Versace, including his friend Jeffrey Trail in Minneapolis and well-known real estate developer Lee Miglin in Chicago.
Andrew Cunanan makes the top 10 FBI list. You had people in all parts of the country wondering whether Andrew Cunanan was going to show up at their house.
Authorities admit that by now, Cunanan could be anywhere.
While his exact motivations are ultimately unknown, experts speculate Cunanan was jealous of Versace's fame and fortune. In 2018, the second season of American Crime Story revisited the crime and the aftermath. Number 3. The attack on Nancy Kerrigan. On January 6, 1994, figure skater Nancy Kerrigan was practicing for the United States Figure Skating Championships in Detroit, Michigan, when she was suddenly struck in her right leg with a baton.
Kerrigan was clubbed on the right knee with a baton by an unidentified man. Why? The whack heard round the world, as it came to be known.
Rival skater Tonya Harding and her ex-husband Jeff Gillooly were suspected of orchestrating the attack to eliminate Harding's competition. The attacker was later identified as Shane Stant, an associate of Sean Eckert, who acted as Harding's bodyguard and Gillooly's friend. Stant and his getaway driver Derek Smith accepted plea deals and were both convicted of conspiracy, while Eckert and Gillooly pled guilty to racketeering.
Just 3 weeks after the attack, her ex-husband, Jeff Gillooly, pleads guilty, but accuses Tonya of being the mastermind.
Tonya categorically denies those allegations.
You know, I haven't done anything wrong.
Harding was banned from the USFSA and didn't skate professionally again. In 2017, interest in the infamous attack was renewed with the release of the film I, Tonya. Number 2. The murders of Tupac and Biggie Smalls. In the late 90s, 2 of hip-hop's most influential artists were killed within 6 months of each other.
Backseat of the Cadillac, unrolled the window, arm came out, opened fire, and just went rat-a-tat-tat. There were 13 shots fired.
On September 7th, 1996, Tupac Shakur was gunned down, dying 6 days later. Then, on March 9th, 1997, Biggie Smalls, also known as the Notorious B.I.G., a suspect in Tupac's murder, was shot and killed.
911 emergency, what are you reporting? We're on 5th Act and Wilshire.
The 2 started off as friends, but quickly became enemies in the East Coast-West Coast War. Suspects range from former Death Row Records CEO Suge Knight to corrupt officers in the LAPD. 2023 saw Dwayne Keefe D. Davis arrested and put in jail as a suspect in Tupac's murder, with a trial delayed to 2026.
You don't know who's with who, how it's going to go down.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. On June 13, 1994, the bodies of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman were found in front of her Brentwood home, having been stabbed to death the night before.
She was absolutely terrified for her life.
Nicole's ex-husband, former football star O.J. Simpson, became the #1 suspect. The trial, dubbed the trial of the century, began 7 months after the murders on January 24, 1995, and would last 134 days, with the shocking verdict being announced on October 3rd.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187.
In the media, it's often forgotten that it isn't all about Simpson. The families of Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman lost their loved ones. The infamous Bronco chase, trying on the gloves, the theatrics in and out of court, all distract from the reality of the case. 2 people were brutally killed.
A mostly white jury found Simpson liable, ordering him to pay $33.5 million to the families of the murder victims in 1997.
Which 90s celebrity crime shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below.
What the hell were you thinking?